When we were younger, we often believed that family and friends were our strongest support system. One phone call and someone would be there. One complaint and someone would listen. And yes, for a time, that belief held true human connection was what uplifted us each day. But then, life happens. We turn 60. And it's not just an age, it's a shift in how we live, how we connect, and how we see ourselves. Our children get busy with their own lives. Old friends don't visit or call as much as they used to. The people who used to be around every day are now far away or simply preoccupied with their own worlds. And so, we start to wonder, who can I really count on now? That question isn't just a passing thought, it's a quiet knock on the door of awareness. It's a signal that perhaps it's time to redefine what support really means. Not out of blame or regret, but from a place of empowerment. Have you ever felt this way? That maybe you're becoming invisible in your own home? That people are too busy to ask, "How are you today?" Or that there is no one to take a simple walk with you in the park? This video is here to help shift that perspective. Together, we're going to explore 6 essential pillars of support that become even more reliable and powerful after 60. These are supports that go beyond traditional family ties, supports that help you feel rooted, strong, and confident. Because the truth is, when you know how to stand strong on your own, you don't feel lonely. You don't feel helpless. You feel capable. You feel alive. So let's take this journey together to reclaim your independence, rediscover joy, and build a support network you can truly rely on. Not just to survive, but to thrive. The very first pillar, and perhaps the most foundational one for feeling safe and secure after 60, is financial stability. It may sound boring at first, but let's be honest. Going for a peaceful morning walk, enjoying your favorite cup of coffee, reading a good book, or simply turning on the AC during a hot summer day, all those little joys are easier when you don't have to constantly worry about money. There's a saying I love: money can't buy happiness, but it can buy the freedom to live your life in a way that brings you happiness. Let me tell you the story of Richard, a 72-year-old man living in Florida. He was a dedicated father, worked hard his whole life. He used almost all his savings to support his kids, paying for college, helping them buy homes, bailing them out during tough times. He believed helping his children succeed was his greatest mission in life. But then came retirement, and soon after, an unexpected financial crisis hit. And the painful truth? His children were also struggling, raising families, paying mortgages, dealing with debt. None of them could support him in return. Richard told me once over coffee, "I don't blame my kids. I just wish I had thought more about my own future." So what's the lesson here? Prioritizing your financial stability is not selfish, it's smart. In fact, it's one of the most responsible things you can do, not just for yourself, but for your family. When you're financially independent, you're not a burden. And even better, you're in a position to support your loved ones with wisdom and presence, not just with your bank account. So, how do we build this pillar strongly? First, create a clear savings plan. No matter your age, whether you're 50, 60, or 70, knowing how much you have, what you're spending, and what your future looks like financially can protect you from nasty surprises. Second, consider passive or supplemental income. Maybe it's renting out a spare room, doing light part-time work that suits your health, or investing conservatively with help from a trustworthy advisor. Third, learn to manage your money wisely. Avoid unnecessary debt, understand your monthly expenses, and always keep an emergency fund ready just in case. Here's a question to reflect on. If something unexpected happened tomorrow, would you have enough saved to handle it on your own? That's not a question to scare you, it's a question to motivate you. Because financial independence doesn't just help you live comfortably, it lets you live with dignity, even in your later years. And remember, growing older doesn't mean growing poor. Retiring doesn't mean giving up. And it's never too late to become financially free. The second pillar, and arguably the most priceless one, is your physical health. After 60, waking up without pain, without dizziness, and without needing someone to help you out of bed, that's not just luck. That's a gift. And no amount of money can buy it back once it's gone. Think about it. Those who can still drive to the grocery store, tend to their garden, or play with their grandkids, they often share one thing in common: they've taken care of their health. And because of that, they still have something deeply valuable: independence. Let me tell you the story of Carl, 68. A few years ago, he was healthy, active, loved walking in the mornings, and even played tennis regularly. But then, life got busy. He skipped workouts here and there, grabbed fast food instead of cooking, and brushed off a few doctor appointments because nothing felt serious. Within just a year, things changed. His knees started aching. He felt short of breath climbing stairs. One small slip led to a major fall, and he found himself in a wheelchair for months. Carl once told me, "I wish I had taken my body more seriously. Losing my health felt like losing control of my whole life." Health, in simple terms, is your freedom. It's what allows you to live on your terms, not relying on others for the basics. And here's the hard truth: no one can exercise or eat well for you. You are the only person who can take care of your body. So what can you do? Start simple. Move a little every day, no fancy gyms needed. A walk around the block, a few stretches, or even doing chores can be great ways to stay active. Eat mindfully. Go for fresh vegetables, fruits, cut down on sugar, processed foods, and make sure you're drinking enough water. Get regular checkups. Don't wait until something feels wrong. Catching things early makes all the difference. Ask yourself, if I lose my health, who will take care of me? And do I really want to put that burden on someone else? This isn't about fear, it's about awareness. You have the power to protect your health starting now. You don't need to become an athlete, you just need to become someone who respects their body because it's the only place you truly live. Final thought: health doesn't come by accident, it's built by daily choices. And the earlier you start, the more freedom and joy you'll have after 60. The third pillar and one of the most powerful influences on your well-being after 60 is your social network. Here's something many people overlook: loneliness can be as dangerous as smoking. Studies have shown that social isolation in older adults increases the risk of depression, high blood pressure, insomnia, cognitive decline, and even early death. It's no wonder the World Health Organization has called loneliness a silent epidemic among seniors. Let me share with you the story of Margaret, 73. When her husband passed away and her children got busy with their careers, each day started to feel painfully slow and empty. She had no one to talk to, no one to invite her for tea, no one to ask, "How are you today?" Some days, she wouldn't speak a single word to anyone. Then a kind neighbor invited her to a local seniors group. She hesitated, didn't know anyone, felt shy, uncertain, but she went, once, then twice. And slowly, things began to shift. She found new friends. She joined gentle yoga classes, cooking sessions, and community volunteering. And after 6 months, she told me something I'll never forget. "I don't live alone anymore, I live with a community." So what's the takeaway? You can't rely solely on your family for social interaction. Your kids may love you dearly, but they have their own responsibilities and routines. When they're not around, who will call you? Who will invite you out? Who will simply listen to you share a story or a thought? That's why it's so important to maintain and expand your relationships. Reach out to an old friend. Send a kind message. Smile at your neighbor. Start the conversation even if it feels awkward at first. Join social groups or clubs. Find a local book club, art class, walking group, or faith-based gathering. Whether you're introverted or extroverted, there's a place where you'll belong. Nurture friendships. At this age, friendship doesn't need to be elaborate. Just having someone who truly listens and being that person for someone else is priceless. Ask yourself, at this stage of life, do I still need new friends? The answer is yes, more than ever. No one should spend their later years in loneliness. A life full of connection doesn't just make you happier, it makes you healthier, stronger, and more fulfilled. Final thought: after 60, joy doesn't come from noise. It comes from deep, meaningful connections with people who see you, hear you, and walk beside you. Have you ever woken up and asked yourself, why am I here today? It's a simple question, but for many people over 60, it carries a deep weight. After retirement, when the job is gone, the kids are grown, and the busy rhythm of life slows down, many begin to feel like they've lost their role in the world. But here's a new way to look at it. You haven't stopped living, you've just entered a new chapter. Let me share the story of George, age 70. He spent his life as a civil engineer, sharp, structured, goal-oriented. Every day had a plan. But when he retired, that plan disappeared. No meetings, no blueprints, no one depending on him. He told me, "I felt like a clock with the batteries taken out. Everything just stopped." Then one day, his daughter invited him to a community center to volunteer as a math tutor for underprivileged kids. He wasn't sure at first, just went for a single session. But something shifted. Seeing the kids' faces light up when they understood a problem, it woke something up in him. He found meaning again. He started waking up not to silence, but with a purpose. And he said something beautiful. "I don't think of myself as retired anymore. I think of myself as doing something more meaningful than ever." What does this tell us? Purpose doesn't come from status or a paycheck. It comes from doing something that matters, no matter how small. After 60, you don't need to make grand gestures, but you do need a reason to get up in the morning. Maybe it's tending a garden, learning a new skill, keeping a journal, helping others, or simply being someone who inspires. Ask yourself, what do I want to leave behind when I'm gone? Or more simply, how can I make today meaningful? Start by setting personal goals, no matter how small. Walk every morning, finish a book, try a new recipe, call an old friend. Join meaningful activities, teaching, mentoring, gardening, volunteering, or simply sharing your life stories with someone who needs to hear them. Because when you live with purpose, age becomes your asset, not your limit. You have time, you have experience, you have wisdom, and you have so much to give. Final thought, you're never too old to start living with a new sense of purpose. Each morning, you have the chance to make your life and someone else's better. Have you ever asked yourself, how do I stay calm and hopeful when life no longer feels familiar? After 60, we all face moments of loss and change. A loved one passes, health declines, the kids are busy with their own lives, even our daily routines begin to shift. And in the middle of all this, emotional resilience becomes a pillar we must build and protect, not just to survive, but to truly live. Let me share the story of Helen, age 75. After 40 years of marriage, she lost her husband to a sudden stroke. Everything changed overnight. She once said, "It felt like the house I'd lived in for decades suddenly became eerily silent." But Helen didn't let grief consume her. She chose to share her feelings by joining a grief support group and connecting with others who understood. She began to write in a journal every morning, listing even the smallest things she was grateful for: a breeze on her skin, birdsong outside the window, a kind message from her granddaughter. She started meditating for just 10-15 minutes a day, learning to observe her emotions instead of being swept away by them. And slowly, she began to feel steady again, more centered, more alive. The truth is, emotions are a part of life. We can't avoid them, but how we handle them is our choice. We can't always rely on others to pull us through. We need to build our own tools, our own strength, so when the storms come, we can stay grounded. But emotional strength doesn't mean toughing it out. It simply means being kind to yourself and learning how to gently care for your inner world. Start journaling just a few lines each day. How do I feel today? What am I grateful for? Try simple breathing or meditation. 5 to 10 minutes can make a real difference. Talk to a therapist or join a support group sometimes. Just being heard can be incredibly healing. Ask yourself, how am I responding to the changes in my life? And do I want my emotions to lead me, or do I want to learn to guide them so I can live more fully? Final thought. Emotional resilience isn't about never feeling pain. It's about standing back up after the fall. It's about living with loss, not by ignoring it, but by embracing it with grace, gratitude, and strength. Have you noticed how life just keeps changing whether we like it or not? And after 60, it sometimes feels like change happens even faster. Friends pass away. Family moves farther. Technology evolves at lightning speed, and we're left wondering if we're becoming outdated in a modern world. So what do we need to stay connected and fulfilled? We need adaptability. Let me tell you about Frank, age 78. In his younger years, he was the life of the party, always surrounded by close friends. But as the years passed, a few of those friends passed away. Others moved far away. Frank started to feel isolated and left behind. Until one day, his granddaughter gifted him a tablet and taught him how to use Zoom. He said something I'll never forget. "I used to think technology was just for young people, but when I made my first video call, it felt like a door to the world opened up again." From then on, he joined online book clubs, video called old friends, and even signed up for a virtual art class. And here's the magic. Once he chose to embrace change, his world became full again, full of color, connection, and curiosity. So what's the message here? If we cling too tightly to the past and reject anything new, life begins to feel narrow and stuck. But when we stay open to learning, to evolving, to stretching just a little outside our comfort zone, we keep growing. Ask yourself, when was the last time you tried something completely new? Have you ever said, "I'm too old for this," and forgotten that your soul has no age? Learn the basics of technology. You don't need to be tech savvy, just know how to video call, message loved ones, and find helpful info. Try something new. Join a cooking class, a gentle yoga session, a local workshop, or even just take a new walking route. Train your mind to stay flexible. Instead of saying "I can't," try asking, "How can I learn this in my own way?" Mental flexibility is more important than muscle strength, because an adaptable person is never left behind no matter how much the world changes. Final thought. You can't control every change life throws your way, but you can choose how to respond. And that adaptability is what helps you truly live at any age. If you've made it to this part of the video, congratulations. Not just because you've followed along through all 6 pillars, but because you've shown a deep commitment to creating a life that is stable, independent, and truly fulfilling in your later years. Together, we've explored financial stability, so you're not dependent, but free to live on your own terms. Physical health, the core of independence and enjoyment. Social connection, relationships that nourish your soul. Purpose, the reason to wake up with joy. Emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back from loss and change. Adaptability, the mindset to keep growing no matter your age. When you have these 6 pillars in place, you no longer feel alone, helpless, or waiting for someone else to lift you up. You become the architect of your own happiness. For many of us, we were taught to believe at this age we should rely on our children. We should be taken care of, supported, helped. But the truth is, peace and happiness after 60 don't come from who's beside you, they come from the foundation you build within yourself. So if you're standing at a crossroads, if you've ever felt left behind, unsure, or even invisible, remember this. It's never too late to begin caring for yourself in a new, empowered way. Maybe you start small. 15 minutes of gentle exercise, tracking your spending, calling an old friend, writing a gratitude note, downloading an app to learn something new, joining a local or online group. You don't have to change the world. You just need to take one small step each day toward greater self-reliance, self-worth, and self-trust. Final thought. After 60, the strongest support doesn't come from others, it comes from the solid, intentional foundation you build for yourself. When you grow stronger from the inside out, the world around you becomes gentler. And if you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.